if you had a sister that was interested in an older man, what advice would you give her? And he's like, I'd tell her to break it off.
But then she goes, well, my mother says older men are better for younger women. Mm-hmm. And he goes, this has been a discouraging day for me.
5, 6, 7, 8.
There's no business like show business.
Mamma mia, here I go again. My
Of the music
do you have the fun fact about how much the director hated the coloring?
I figured that this is something that you would really enjoy talking about, so I do not.
Not only am I going to really enjoy talking about it, I have the funniest trivia about it.
Oh, great.
Also, first question, yes. Where did you watch this?
The internet.
It's on YouTube for, oh god, I just punched the desk.
Oh dear.
It's on YouTube for free with ads.
Which, how long was yours? Because there's a whole thing about like a lost 14 minutes or something.
Mine was 2 hours, 37 minutes.
We're good to go. We're not gonna have one of those weird moments where I'm like, what? They said what?
You got Rock You Like a Hurricane and
I know.
No, I was also thrown by the 4 minutes of black at the beginning. Yes. Okay, but first, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Welcome back to the podcast. Welcome back to 5, 6, 7, 8, a movie musical podcast. We are your chaotic co-hosts. I'm Anna.
I'm Grace.
And this episode, we are doing the 1958 South Pacific, which we both have deep feelings about.
Absolutely. And this
like
is
deep
also
nostalgic feelings.
100%. And this is also our finale for, what is it, season 4?
I forgot.
I know.
Oh my god.
I know. Because we're doing a bunch of recordings over Christmas break, and so they are kind of running together a little bit. But yes, this is our season 4 finale.
What a good one to end on.
Yeah.
This is our finale. We have like 2 weeks where we're doing, I think, 5 episodes. Yeah. I was talking to my mom about it this morning, and I was like, I don't know. All right, I gotta watch this in like 2 days.
Yeah. And I checked
it's been a joy. It's been an absolute joy.
Oh, it's been such a blast. But I did check the run times, and I was like, we did choose all incredibly long movies. Which, to be fair, we're not working right now. Like, we're off on vacation.
Yeah,
which is super helpful to, like, watch several 2.5-hour movies.
Oh my god. Even, like, Matilda, that I was like, this is 90 minutes. And your reader, it's a 2-hour movie.
No, exactly. And then our next 2 I also checked is 2 hours, and then the one after that is 2 hours, 20 minutes. Woof.
Oh my god, it's longer?
Yeah.
What I will say, so this is a 2-hour, 37-minute movie. Yeah. There is an intermission.
Huzzah! Bring back intermissions.
Bring back intermissions. I was literally talking to my friend Marky about this the other day. I'm just like, what happened to 90-minute movies? Love a tight 90. And if your movie, this is my hot take, this is what the energy I'm bringing into 2026. If your movie is more than 90 minutes, it needs an intermission break.
Yes. Do it.
Do it. Right into the play. Anyway, we're doing South Pacific, which Grace and I both have deep nostalgic feelings for
100%.
different reasons.
Yes.
You grew up watching this movie.
Yes.
I grew up exclusively listening to this soundtrack. If this was the soundtrack of South Pacific that we had, we did not have the Broadway production. We had this movie.
So the movie one, not the Mary Martin one.
The movie one.
Gotcha.
I have seen this movie. It has been a long time since I've seen it.
Yeah.
But I had seen it.
Yes.
But it is the music that I remember. And there were a couple moments where I was like, oh, you were dubbed, and that voice does not match what I think you should sound like.
Yes. A lot of people were dubbed on this movie. And yeah, this is one of the ones that I grew up with a VHS tape watching over and over. Yeah. Like, I told Anna I had such a visceral reaction to, like, hearing this music again of, like, direct back to my childhood. And
like sitting on the carpet.
And then watching it and just being like, oh, the color in this is crazy, which I did not clock.
The color in this is
crazy. I haven't watched this for like 15 years. It's been a good
I think it's been
while.
Easily 15 years. I think it's been since at least high school.
Yeah,
that I watched
100%.
This. I don't think I watched this. I'm very blessed to have seen the Lincoln Center production with Kelly O'Hara.
Bless. Love that.
Let's get this road on the show.
Yes, this is a long one. A lot happens. It's
a lot happens.
Quite packed.
Also, we'll do a trigger warning for the start of this, just because this is a movie that reflects its time, but it also makes statements about its time, which I'm just endlessly a fan of.
Yes.
It's pretty revolutionary for what, and it's unfortunately still very, very relevant. Mm-hmm. But obviously there will be conversations about racism, there will be conversations about war and death and
racial stereotypes and a bunch of stuff like that. But beyond that, it's not just that there are moments of racism and racial stereotypes. They are commented on by the characters, and it is something that is addressed within the story, which is what I appreciate. I always use this show as an example whenever someone comes to me and is like, musical theater is frivolous. This is the show that I talk about to refute that statement. It's like, yes, there are a lot of shows that are just like fun cotton candy, and they have their place, and I love them, but there are also musicals that can talk about something incredibly important and cross boundaries to bring that message to people who might not hear them. We'll get to it. I have a whole section about that particular song that we're talking about.
This is a genre. This genre contains multitudes. This genre, this art form can give you Xanadu, and it can also give you South Pacific.
100%. I was thinking like Legally Blonde, the musical.
No, I'm sorry. Take that back. Legally Blonde talks about
so true. You're right. I retract.
Women in men's roles and female empowerment. You take that back.
I retract. Anna ready to throw hands.
Ready. A fist from Australia. Okay. This movie starts with 4 minutes of a black screen and overture that truly I was like, oh no, is my TV broken?
Same thing with me, because I watched it on the internet. I was like, is this a bad stream? Do I need to find another option?
No, that's just for the house is open, but the show hasn't begun yet.
Yes.
This is our overture.
I love it.
Which we haven't had in a second.
Oh, God.
Also, if you know the show really well, the movie does not start the way the show does.
No.
We don't have to get into it, but they've moved some scenes around.
Yeah.
And we actually start in a plane approaching an island in the South Pacific.
Yeah.
It is World War II.
Kind of at the beginning of the South Pacific conflict, which is not one of the parts of World War II that gets focused on a lot in American history, but was quite a big thing. So on this plane flying over, we meet a couple of people. We meet Lieutenant Cable and the pilot. I think his name is Buzz. And the Lieutenant Cable is new to the area. He's asking if all of these islands are Japanese, because at that point in the South Pacific, the fight for control was between the Japanese and the U.S. And
this is an American plane. This is
an American plane, yes. And he's like, hold on, I'll check, and then dives down. They start getting fired on. He's like, nah, they're not friendly. I was like, God damn. And
the war is not. Lieutenant Cable expresses some frustration because it's not that the war is at a stalemate. It's just, I think they have recently come to this region and no one's really taken the first punch.
Yeah, nothing's popped off yet.
Nothing's kicked off yet. But they're there and they're occupying and they're trying to occupy as many islands, because a big part of this region is where a lot of naval boats will come through. Mm-hmm. So if they can identify, and this is going to come up later, if they can identify when ships are coming through, they can bomb them, and they can really cut off supplies and reduce ammunition deliveries,
especially with airplane carriers, which were a new thing. And being able to land an airplane, refuel, and then retake off would allow the Japanese to cross the ocean in smaller planes, which is a part of also Pearl Harbor. That's a whole thing. It's a whole nother thing. This
is a location that they are fighting for control over, and it's a sense of whoever controls the South Pacific Islands controls the turn of the war.
Yes. On the plane, Lieutenant Cable asks about a French landowner in the area called Emile Debec, and Buzz, the pilot, is like, "Oh yeah, I know a little bit about him. We don't see him a lot, but rumor is he had to flee France 20 years ago, and no one knows why." And they point out the area that they'll be landing, and then we cut down to the beach.
Mm-hmm. Do we ever get a name for this island that they're on?
I don't know. I don't remember, because we have Bali Hai and then we have the Marie Louise.
I don't know if they've named the island.
I don't know.
They probably do, and I missed it.
Yeah.
But we land on the main island where all of the U.S. soldiers, naval officers, they call them Seabees, are based, and we immediately meet a bunch of ensemble characters that are bored out of their coconuts on this
big dumb boys
island in the South Pacific.
The amount of goons in this movie. The amount of goons.
Big goon energy.
Yes.
We get an ensemble of male soldiers singing, immediately launching into the song Bloody Mary, which is about a woman who lives on this island. She's Tonkinese, named Bloody Mary. She's an older middle-aged woman. She's ingratiated herself to these men. Her English is broken, but she's sassy and she doesn't give any shits, and the men love her. Like, they're very protective of her.
She's a character. She's one of those, like, she's one of those, like, auntie characters that's just, like, knows everything about everyone and has an opinion about everything.
And makes everyone else's business her business.
Absolutely.
But they sing the song about her, and
she's having a blast.
Her. Yeah. She's having a blast, and she's also there engaging with them. They're not making fun of her while she's not there. She's there. Yeah. And I hadn't clocked it at first because I thought it was just part of the scenery, but there's this big boat, like big wooden boat with like all of the...
With like a lot of handmade crafts and stuff.
A lot of handmade crafts, like grass skirts and shells and leis and stuff. The song ends. Cable arrives on the island.
Yes. We also have a new character arrive. His name is Luther. He's my favorite character.
Yes, we meet Luther Billis.
Yes, who comes in with a bunch of grass skirts trying to sell them to Mary, and she distracts him by pulling out like a boar's tooth bracelet. And he's instantly obsessed with this because there's a lot of rumors going on about a neighboring island called Bali Hai, where a lot of stuff goes on. God, what does he say? It's like drinking, dancing, everything.
Everyone gets to know each other.
Everyone gets to know each other. And it's just so silly.
A little bit of context of Bali Hai. This wasn't just an unpopulated island.
No.
There have been plantations here for many years. It is not exclusively occupied by people indigenous to the region. There have been a lot, like Emile Debec comments later of like a lot of people here were like running away from
a lot
places
of French
like New York,
planters, because it is French Polynesia now. Yeah,
that's true. The war has recently reached this region, and Bali Hai is where if plantation owners had young wives or daughters, they sent this is a wartime. Like
they also heard that a bunch of dudes were coming who they didn't know or trust.
A bunch of horny soldiers were coming, and so they sent all of their young impressionable women to Bali Hai, which which does make it even more alluring to the soldiers. Luther is obsessed with this idea of going to Bali Hai. He wants to see the boar's tooth bracelet ceremony.
Yeah,
it's where they drink coconut liquor. But Luther is just, I don't know his actual
like an enlisted
rank,
man.
But he's
pretty low on the totem pole.
He's bottom of the barrel, and only officers can check out boats. Check out, take out, sign out boats to get to Bali Hai. So he's obsessed with this idea of getting to Bali Hai, and Cable arrives on the island, having landed from the plane. He's very prim and proper. Like his chinos are pleated. His shirt is ironed.
Everyone else is a mess.
Soldiers, open shirts.
Stupot has a slutty little crop top. Love that for him.
Yeah, no one is in uniform, and he's immediately unimpressed with the state of all the other soldiers on the island.
Yes.
But Luther tries to get Bloody Mary to buy his skirts, and she's like, "No, these are like dumb skirts."
At one point, all of the nurses
is Cable there when they sing Bali Hai? Or no, when they sing "There's Nothing Like a Dame"?
No.
Okay, I'm jumping around a bit then. Sorry.
It's so fine. There's a lot that happens. These are long scenes, and a lot of songs happen in one scene. It is not like song scene change location. They cram a lot into one place.
All right.
There's a bunch of nurses that are jogging by like their daily exercise routine, and of course, all of the guys are just like, oh, but they're officers, so technically we're not supposed to like fraternize with them. But one of them stops and talks to Luther because he has a laundry service. And so she asks if...
Is it laundry?
Okay. Yeah. There's a sign for it later, which is Luther's laundry.
I wasn't sure if he like did mending or not, but okay, it's laundry. But
yeah,
she stops and she's like, do you have do you have my stuff? And he's like trying to be all sly about it, but he gives it to her, and she opens it, and all these soldiers are like looking at it. She goes, "Oh, Luther, you do beautiful work."
I know. They're like perfectly starched and pressed. So she runs off and like waves and says thank you, and all of the guys sing the song "There's Nothing Like a Dame." And I think this is around when it's like at the end of the second half of this song that Lieutenant Cable actually arrives.
Okay. There Is Nothing Like a Dame is a classic song from this musical that is essentially all these men being so horny and not having any women on this island in the South Pacific.
Yeah.
And like, I love that. They're like, we get a lot of entertainment. We get speeches, we get movies, but nothing does it for us. There's nothing like being around a woman.
Yeah.
There's nothing like a dame.
Yes.
Okay. I have a gripe about this interpretation of this song.
Okay.
So these men are giving me nothing. And there is good acting that happens in this film.
Yes.
These ensemble men are giving me, and Luther to a bit, are giving me absolutely nothing while they are singing. And then the choreography, quote unquote, dear listener, is like just, I feel like the director was like, all right, aimlessly walk slowly on beat.
Yeah.
Drove me. They're just, duh, 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 duh. And so this is my homework. I'm going to do it already. I'm going to include a link in the homework to a better rendition of this song.
Hell
it's
yeah.
from the UK production recently, or within the last 10 years, at a performance at the Royal Variety Show.
Okay.
It's a great performance. The Luther is great. The actors are great. And there's actually choreography and emoting through song.
Hell yeah. Amazing.
I also have a fun fact about the guy that plays Showboat, because this is the only song that he sings.
Amazing. Tell me.
So later we'll talk about the dubbing, but the actor who plays Stewpot is dubbed by singer Thurl Ravenscroft, who we know from You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch.
Yeah! I did read that.
And he was also the voice of Tony the Tiger.
Yeah.
So anyway, I want you to imagine
Tony
You're
the
a
Tiger.
Mean One, Mr. Grinch.
Yeah.
For Stewpot.
In particular, the one line of like, he gets
There
so
is
nuts
nothing
and
absolutely
like
like
a
a
dream. Yeah.
Yeah.
Incredible. Well, and just to speak about the dubbing really quickly, obviously Emile de Becque, that actor, was also dubbed for his singing voice.
Dear listener, I am waving my arms around. I grew up with this soundtrack. This is like...
I know.
This is like how Norm Lewis was my first Javert.
Yes.
And like nothing will ever
compare. Well, that guy, he was quite a famous opera singer, and was also in Most Happy Fella, if anyone knows that original soundtrack. And then
I don't.
The guy who sang for Lieutenant Cable, Bill Lee, we heard recently because he was the dubbing for Captain Von Trapp.
Oh my god, I hear it!
Yeah!
Oh my god, I hear it!
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. And he did a bunch of stuff. Bill Lee was like, he did dubbed singing. Like, that was his job for his entire career. So, Lieutenant Cable arrives and Bloody Mary clocks him instantly. And it's just like, sexy man.
You're a handsome man, and I have plans
I have plans for you. And she like pulls out a shrunken head and is like, give to your sweetheart back home. And she lets him know that she got it on Bali Hai. And then we get the song Bali Hai, which is like this hypnotic sort of almost a fever dream. And this is when the color starts to go crazy.
This is when we get our first color filter, which this is going to happen a lot.
Yes.
I think we get hot pink.
Yes.
Of this fever dream, and we get the song Bali Hai, which it starts as like a women's chorus far away, like calling to you from the other side of the channel. And then Bloody Mary sings the song Bali Hai about the song, about the island, of how like most like everyone yearns for something, and like
it's
Bali Hai is
to
there
you.
to like,
it's your special island.
Yeah, everyone's got something to gain on Bali Hai.
Exactly.
And it's a very haunting but beautiful song. And it's a call to action song.
Yeah. Once the song ends, Luther has noticed this, and he goes over and he's like, let me hook you up. Because he's like, by hook or by crook, I'm going to get over to this island. And now I found an officer that I might be able to coerce into taking me with him. He's like, I got you.
Like, you are my ticket to Bali.
You are my ticket. I got you. I'll get a boat. There's so much over there. And Cable kind of like brushes him off a little bit, but still seems kind of interested. Just then, we have 2 higher officers arrive to talk to Mary.
I never knew their names. I call them Captain and Commander the rest of this film.
I did not know their names. I called them the higher-ups.
Nice.
And they come to talk to Mary because she's selling stuff, and the French planters are complaining because Mary's business selling to the troops is going so well that she's hiring the people that are working on the plantation at better rates than the Frenchmen are paying them. And so the Frenchmen are complaining to the higher officers on this naval base. And of course,
I don't know, maybe you're underpaying your workers.
Well, and that's what Mary said. She's like, stupid, stingy, like stinkers should pay better.
Yeah, stingy stinkers.
I'm paying more. So they work for me. And I'm just like, yeah, that's how the economy works.
The captain goes, you are causing an economic revolution on this island.
Exactly.
But essentially he's like, I don't want excuses. Take like all of your stuff, all of your wares, take it off Navy property.
Yes.
And Cable is like, okay, this is my opportunity to impress the higher-ups. And he puts on his big boy voice and he goes, all right, you men, take all this stuff down past the pier.
Yeah.
And the commander and captain are like, who's this guy?
So he goes to the guys and he starts talking to them about the reason why he's sent there. So he's a Marine and he's been sent because his commanders are like, something's got to give in this area. Something needs to happen. We need more information if we're going to start something. So he's come up with this idea to put a couple of spies on a Japanese-held island called Marie Louise, which is looking right over a bottleneck into this entire area. And if they send 2 people there, they might be able to talk about troop movements and
like give them a radio and tell them. They're essentially asking them to spy
like,
behind
give
enemy
us
lines.
the edge. And
Cable has been elected to do this.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And he says, like, they're like, well, how are you going to get over there? And he was like, well, I heard about this local Frenchman who used to live on that island like 5 years ago.
It's not that he used to live there, it's that he just used to have a plantation there. So I don't know if he lived there full time, but he like knows the island really well. And this is Emile Debec. This is why Cable was asking about him on the plane.
Yes.
It'd be like, it would be really good to have someone with me who knows the island.
Exactly. Cut to.
And I'm like, let's ask Emile to help us.
Exactly.
Cut to Emile's house.
Huzzah! Gorgeous. And
gorgeous.
We meet Emile Debec and Nellie Forbush.
Who we did meet earlier.
Yes.
Nellie was the officer that stopped and got laundry from Luther.
Exactly.
They are having tea over like this. He has the house on a hill. It has a
stunning,
beautiful view.
Gorgeous.
And they are just flirting up a storm.
Oh my God. So she asks if it's true, if there's like a lot of fugitives working for him, and
or just like people on these islands
that
like
are
people
running
that have
away
come
from
here.
things.
Yeah, and he's like, well, we're all running away from something.
Yep.
Even you from, and we learned that she's from Little Rock, Arkansas.
Yes.
And he's like, Small Rock? Where are you from?
And she
and then
shows
we get
him a
another
clipping
filter.
of like her
yes.
like what her hometown is thinking about her, and that her mom doesn't think that she like makes the right choices, yada yada. But she also talks about how she can't bring herself to get as downbeat as everyone else seems to be, that everyone's talking about like that this war is the end of the world, and like she just can't get herself to be that sad. And then she sings the song Cockeyed Optimist.
Everyone at the nurse's hospital calls her Knucklehead Nellie because she's so optimistic. She's like, I can't. That's just who I am.
Yes.
And we get the song Cockeyed Optimist,
and it
which
is
just
bright yellow.
It is. We get a bright yellow filter, but the song is essentially like I'm just like, this is just who I am.
I'm an optimistic person.
Like, I'm an optimistic person. I will not apologize for it.
Yeah.
It's a classic upbeat soprano song.
Yes.
It's fun to sing.
It's so fun to sing.
The song ends and Emile asks Nellie.
Emile's just
like,
entranced by her.
Yeah. And he's like, well, what are you running away from when you joined the Navy? And she goes, I don't know. I don't think I was running away from something. I think I was running towards something. I was running towards having new experiences and meeting new people.
100%.
And he asks like, well, do you like the people that you've met? And she goes, I'm not sure yet.
I don't know. So then we get this inner monologue song called The Two Soliloquies, which is...
The Twin Soliloquies.
Twin Soliloquies, thank you. And he asks, like, oh, do you want cognac? And so he goes to pour her a drink, and she's there thinking, like, what am I doing here? I'm feeling these feelings about this guy, but I'm just like, what'd she say? Like a corn-fed hick. Like, he must not...
I'm a little hick.
Like,
yeah,
he's a cultured
really
Frenchman.
Interesting...
And then it's
a really interesting dynamic because we get an inner monologue. Truly, like, they don't move their lips on screen.
No.
This is just like an inner monologue, super tight close-up of their faces. And it's twin soliloquies for a reason. It's these individual monologues where she's like, he's so cultured, like, why would he be interested in me? I have these feelings. And then we cut to him and he's like, I'm too old for her, but I'm so entranced by her.
She's so young, she's smiling, she probably has so many suitors, like...
Yeah. But they end their song, they cheers. Okay, I'm sorry, I have two things to talk about. Like,
my note is they drink like crazy people. So
they drink like crazy people. They have enormous
Goblet.
snifters of cognac. Also, I'm sorry, middle of the day cognac is an insane choice.
Love that for you. Wild.
High noon cognac.
High noon. High tea cognac.
High tea cognac. Enormous snifters. They like go glass to glass. They're facing each other.
Two hands.
Both hands on the snifter.
You gotta use both hands.
Almost like a sacrificial goblet.
Yes. This is like they were doing the arm cross to drink, but they weren't.
Yeah, but they're not.
And they lift...
It's like they're doing this, but they're not.
They lift their elbows forward to drink. It's the craziest way.
He almost drinks... I was like, are they gonna just...
Are they cheersing?
Skull this cognac?
Are they just chucking it back?
Just chugging this... Again,
isn't it
high noon cognac.
A sipping drink?
It is like an I'm sorry. Cognac is an after dinner sipping by the fire drink. Not middle of the day, 90% humidity.
Chuck it.
With direct
the 90% humidity. Also, I can't.
The 90% humidity. Also, we learn in this it has been 2 weeks since they met.
So after this toast, we get a little bit more about their history and how they met each other. So he tries to sell her a little bit about what her life would be like here. Do you like this view? Do you like the house? Do you like me? And then he remembers and we get a little bit of backstory. He's like, I know this is crazy. We've just met. We only met 2 weeks ago at like this ball.
At an officers club dance.
Exactly. But then he sings about the moment when he first saw her, and we get Some Enchanted Evening.
I have full body chills. He has the richest baritone. And he's the one that you said was Von Trapp?
No.
Cable was the one that was Von Trapp.
Yes.
Okay. But there's a reason this role is always played by someone with opera training. It is so
thick,
rich, and buttery, and God, do I love this role and this. Like, I love these songs that he sings.
God,
Some Enchanted Evening is just like about meeting your person across a crowded room and
it's
locking
love at
eyes.
first sight. It is the song about love at first sight.
I'm gonna cry. I love Rodgers and Hammerstein music so much.
Flames on the side of my face. But
anyway, the song ends.
They almost kiss.
They are so attracted to each other, and then he says the most insane thing, which I think he thinks is like, I'm sealing the deal with this. Where he's like, when we get married, I'm much older than you, which means if
we have kids,
when we have children, when we have children and I die, you will get all of my money and you can take our children back to America if you want. Sir, you met this woman
2 weeks ago. He's like, well,
Sir.
Okay, but also, to be fair, I do appreciate a man who's like, this is what I want. I'll wait until we get to where it makes sense to take this forward, but I'm being very straightforward about what it is that I'm looking for, which, crazy, but do appreciate. Anyway, so she has to leave. Her car arrives.
A servant of Emil's comes up being like, your Jeep is here to pick you up.
And before she leaves, he's like, wait, there is something I do need to tell you. We're just getting to know each other, but I want to tell you about why I left France. And
I need to tell you my baggage.
I need to tell you my baggage real fast, but only part parts of it. We'll get to that. So
selective baggage.
Yeah, selective. And he's like, well, what happened is that there was this man in our village who was a bully, and I ended up killing him, and so I had to leave France. And that's all we get so far, and we get more information later. Yeah. But she's
like, well, did he deserve it? And he's like, yes. And she's like, okay, cool.
Then we're good. But she agrees to think about his proposal, essentially. She leaves, and after she leaves, we see two young Polynesian children, a boy and a girl, come running out, and he greets...
They're probably like 7 and 5.
Yeah, quite young. He greets them, and it turns out that they are his kids. And
surprise!
They sing a little cute French song called Dites-moi.
Dites-moi pourquoi.
The French in the patter is crazy. Of parce que, and I was like, what?
Is that not how they? Okay,
it's
an interesting thing because
it's parce que.
No, I know this. My question is, I don't know. I have not listened to the actual like Broadway or revival recordings very often because this is the soundtrack that I grew up to.
No, I'm sure that it's correct.
How do they say it in? Oh, no, I'm asking. Do they sing it differently in the Broadway production, in the revival?
I don't think so. I think they sing it like this, but just the fact that this is obviously an English-speaking person trying to write in French and just butchering it.
Okay.
All right.
Anyway,
so
we get
back to the Navy base.
Back to the Navy base. Cable has gone into the office with the commander and the captain.
Yes.
And where he's like getting he's getting more context on
they've found out what's going on.
Yeah, well, like they've made it their business to get to know the people on the island, and they know he was married to a Polynesian woman and had 2 children with her.
Yep. She passed.
Also that he killed someone back in France.
Yes.
Like the Navy knows all of this already.
But they don't know why, and they don't know
they don't know why.
What his leanings are politically. So they don't know if he would be willing to help them out.
Yeah. We don't know his deal. He was here when we got here.
Yes.
Nellie is then called into the captain's office, and they're essentially asking her. She's so I think she's nervous partly because she's getting pulled into the office. But then they're immediately like, what do you think of this guy? What's his political stance? And she just came from like a marriage proposal, essentially. She is sweating because she doesn't want to say the wrong thing.
Of course not.
But she also doesn't know, like, a lot of this conversation makes her realize, I actually don't know a lot about this man.
Yeah.
And they essentially ask her to spy on him. They want to know more. They want to know about his thoughts politically. They do not tell her that he was married with children.
No.
But they
and she specifically,
killed someone.
She says, no, he wasn't married before, but I do know that he killed a man in France. And so after she leaves, they're like, well, he's keeping something secret, ain't he? But they don't tell her.
And then we have a moment of joy for me. Like, she leaves, and she has this moment where she's like, I guess I don't know him very much. And she walks out. And Cable, the Cable, Commander, and Captain are like, she's in love with this
Captain
man.
is like, she's in love.
Captain says it, and Cable's like, what? He's middle-aged.
Yeah.
And because Nellie's not
the same age as Cable, I think. They're both in their, like, mid-20s.
Late, I think they're supposed... I don't know. I read them as late 20s, early 30s. But again,
based on the time, based on the 40s,
they probably were mid-20s.
I read mid-20s.
I still will play Nellie. I refuse to give up on that dream. But Cable's like, what? Why would someone young like her want to be with someone old like him? And then we get the captain being like, son, you want to think about things before you say them.
Yeah.
I myself am over 50 and a bachelor, and I am not yet through.
I know, and he like rolls the R. He's like, I do not consider myself through.
And just like dresses him down.
And the captain is dying in the background trying to keep himself together.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was a very silly
just
moment.
Like, oh my god. And then we get a call back to this later, which is honestly such a moment of joy for me. But Nellie gets to kind of the general town square, essentially, of this home base. Billis greets her. He, like, intercepts her mail for her and tells her hot water is waiting. Billis just kind of makes it his business to know everybody on this island. But
Billis also has a little crush on her, I think.
Yeah, he does. But he's also just making himself busy there so that he can intercept Cable.
Absolutely.
Who leaves the office, and he was like, hey, guess what? We're getting on a boat to Bali Hai in 20 minutes.
Hell yeah.
And Cable's like, I forgot all about that.
Oops.
I just got here. We're not doing that.
Yeah, exactly. So he tells Luther to go and cancel the boat. And then he goes to talk to Nellie, and Nellie ends up asking Cable, like, if you had a sister that was interested in an older...
really quickly, she's reading her mail.
Yes.
And she, like, makes a comment to Cable of, like, my mother doesn't agree with anything I do. Is your mother like that? And she's like, no, my mother loves everything I do, but I don't tell her everything I do.
Yeah.
But she also makes a comment of, like, my mother is so prejudiced.
Yes.
Against, like, what I'm against other people.
And
I'm not like that.
Of course.
I don't understand that.
I don't understand.
And
then she's like, for a friend, hypothetically, maybe in fiction, if you had a sister that was interested in an older man, what advice would you give her? And he's like, I'd tell her to break it off.
But then she goes, well, my mother says older men are better for younger women. Mm-hmm. And he goes, this has been a discouraging day for me. I fucking love.
It's such a funny line.
Throwaway line. Oh my god. But she takes Cable's advice, and he leaves, and she takes Cable's advice, and she goes to the other nurses to, like, the girls' bathing shower station. She goes, like, it's that thing where, like, she's talking out loud, and the girls are like, okay, yeah.
Sure.
Just, like, because she needs to talk out loud. She's like, I'm gonna break it up with Emil.
Yes.
It's just the right thing to do. And they're all like,
Okay. And so we get the song Gonna Wash That Man Right Out of My Hair, which is such a fun pitter-patter song about, like, I have to break up with this man. I simply must. This is her...
And she's washing her hair while she does it.
Yes. During the middle of this song, who should ride up like fucking Prince Charming on a white horse? Is Emil. And all the girls see this and scatter.
And they scatter when Nellie has her eyes closed because she's literally washing
like
her hair.
The towel's like over her head kind of deal.
Over her head. And Emil comes up and just, like, kind of watches her sing this song. Nellie realizes she has been abandoned by the other girls.
Whoops!
Quickly goes and, like, puts on her clothes again. She's in, like, a towel.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, what are you doing here? But he's there to invite Nellie to a party that he's going to be hosting because he wants to introduce her to all of his friends, and his friends being the other plantation owners on this island. She immediately, girl, you are not subtle. She's like, oh, hello, yeah, I'll go to this party. Also, what do you think about politics?
This girl is not a spy.
This girl could never be a spy.
And he's like, do you mean what's my political philosophy? And she's like, I think that's what I mean.
And he's like, I believe in universal freedom.
Yeah, like the normal good things.
I believe in standing up for what is right.
I believe in a thing called love.
But I also believe in the ability to, like, do what you want, and, like, as long as you're not hurting anybody.
And she's like, phew!
And we get a little more backstory about what happened when he killed that man, which was, like, he gave this big speech in the town square because this bully was essentially running the town.
And this is the other time when she's not a spy, because she's like, I always think it's interesting why one person
would kill
another person. And he's like, no, I get it. I understand why that's worrying you. And then, yes, we get the story of, like, this gangster that came.
Yeah, this guy who, like, essentially took over this town. Emil gave this big speech trying to rally all the townsfolk to his cause, to stand up to him, and they're all like, oh, he's standing right behind you. Mm-hmm. And he turns, and they fought, and the bully hit his head on a rock when he fell, and that's how he died. Emil didn't, like, slit his throat.
No, it was an unintentional...
And he... Is it manslaughter when you didn't intend to kill the person? Involuntary manslaughter?
Yeah.
Something like that. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. But upon hearing this, Nellie's like, okay, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll marry you.
And then he asks, like, have you been thinking? And we get a reprise of Some Enchanted Evening and a big kiss, which all of her friends that are, like, 20 feet down the beach start, like, hooting and hollering.
Yeah, she's like, oh, she washed that man out of her hair. It's also, we haven't had a classic 50s movie face
Mash.
smash kiss in a minute.
Yeah, which
I'm
is
sorry.
different.
Coming
So
off of-
Emil and Nellie kiss like this, but later Cable
They do.
and Liat do not. They kiss a little bit more naturally, and it was a big deal.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Emil and Nellie do kiss where, like, they kiss and they move their heads a little bit. It's not just like they put their lips together and don't move. It's passionate for the time.
Yes.
But he leaves and we get a song where Nellie joyously gives voice to her feelings, which is I'm in love with a wonderful guy.
What a cute song.
It's such a cute song. I love this song so much. I love Rodgers and Hammerstein songs.
I love this musical.
I love the songs in this musical. I love the lyrics.
Ugh.
And the song is essentially her being like, I am in love and he is a wonderful guy and aren't I lucky?
Yes. Cut to corporal, captain, the office.
I call the Cable, commander, and captain.
Commander.
Are all meeting with
Emil.
Emil in the captain's office.
Yeah.
And they're like, they're pitching him the
pros
idea,
and cons, and they're being serious about the pros and the cons, which I did appreciate.
Yeah, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
They're like, yes, it's going to be dangerous. Yes, you're going to be behind enemy lines, but it's for a greater good.
Yes.
And it could really, like, help turn the tide of this war.
Yes.
And it's in your best interest if we end this war.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, totally valid response, totally valid points.
No.
No.
And the reason
because
that
now I have something to live for.
Exactly. Well, and the reason he originally gives is just like, you keep saying what you're against, but you're not saying what you're for. When I was a young man, I hated bullies, and I've just seen bullies rise and rise. And then Cable is just like, bullshit. It's because you're in love now, and you don't want to, like, you think that that's more important than anything. And he turns to him, and he's like, yeah, it is. I've decided that, like, what I feel for Nellie and our potential future is more important and is the most important thing to me. So I will not be participating. And he leaves.
Yeah, I will not apologize, and I will not apologize for it.
Yeah.
But we love boundaries.
I love it.
We love explicitly setting boundaries and not apologizing for it.
And Cable's like,
and
fuck,
Cable's like,
I guess I should.
can't believe you're just a guy putting a girl above everyone else.
But the commander is just like, well, you know what, Cable, take a few days off while we figure out if we can salvage this mission, like, or if we can find any other options. I don't know, get a boat.
Oh, really? I interpreted that as like, well, that was a fail. All right, Cable, you're going back to where you came from.
Well,
but like,
because
take a few days.
I think Cable's like, I guess I need to leave then. And then the commander's like, take a few days. I don't know.
You just got here.
Get a boat, go fishing. And he's like,
go fishing.
A boat! And then...
I'm sorry, boat triggers him like a sleeper cell. And he remembers that is an option.
Yes.
So
cut to the boat to Bali Hai
and sprints out, and the next
and
thing we
swims
see is him
to England. Yeah.
It swims. No, but the next time we see him is shirtless on a boat with Billis going to Bali Hai.
Yes, exactly. And there's a massive welcome from the whole town over there.
So and I think we get a little bit of the Bali Hai, like women's chorus, and we get some color gradients. It's also so they're excited to go, but the people on Bali Hai, the women mostly, are excited because they don't get visitors very often. Yeah. You put
and
all
not only
the
that,
young, hot women on this island, and you deprived them of men.
Well, and the thing is, it's like, it's not only that. One thing that they've done is essentially place like a class barrier. So the people that are allowed to get to that island are only like lieutenants, commanders, captains, like people that are higher up than just straight enlisted men, which for the people there are just like, well, at least I know that if someone comes here and falls in love with a girl, at least it's someone with like who has a little bit of like social standing, which is very interesting as well.
There's two groups of people on this island.
Yes.
There are the young women and young wives of all the plantation owners. There are some nuns there.
That was wild.
I'm assuming like other islands probably just like sent all their women here, like other islands in the region. I guess there was a nunnery.
Or they're just trying to convert people, which happened a lot in that area.
Yeah, that's very true. But there's also the Tonkinese population, which is just people living their lives on this island. So you have people of all ages, all genders from the Tonkinese population on this island, and then you have all the young women from the other islands.
From the French
you're
planters.
Absolutely right, where there is this class barrier, which definitely explains why all the young women are interested when the boat pulls up, because if someone is coming to this island, they are someone of note.
Yes. And who should they run into on this island? but Bloody Mary.
Oh, what a coincidence.
I know. And she's like, oh no, I live on this island. Also, Cable grabs his hand. You need to come with me. And Luther at first is like, absolutely not. He's coming with me. We're going to the Boar's Tooth ceremony. So they head over there and there's a lot of dancing celebration going on, a lot of ceremony.
Yeah. It's a big to-do.
Yes.
Lots of dancers. There's walking on hot coals. There's masks. There's puppetry. There's like a
traditional
big
wear.
Throne almost. Yeah. I didn't love this caption, chanting in native language.
Yeah.
I don't remember this this performative ritualistic dance from any stage production.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
No, I've never seen a stage production. So.
What?
Yeah.
My God.
I know.
But anyway, Bloody Mary, she follows them there. As soon as Billis is kind of distracted by the boar that they bring out, she grabs Cable's arm and leads him to a secondary location.
Oh, no. So she leads him deeper into the jungle and to this, like, really idyllic looking spot of, like, waterfalls and, like, golden light. Again, weird color. And into this, like, bamboo hut. And he's like, hey.
She takes him to her house.
Yeah. He's like, hey, what are we doing here? And she's just like, wait. And he's like, no, what are we doing here? And then suddenly we get a pause because someone else has entered the room. And we get a slow camera pan up of a lovely young Tonkinese woman. And instantly gorgeous.
She's
stunning.
so beautiful.
And instantly Cable is just like truly, you know, the cartoon heart, like we always say heart eyes. I need you to know
Heart
that I
eyes.
imagine the full, like, eyes have turned to hearts cartoon Roger Rabbit awooga eyes.
Awooga.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like not like an ogling awooga, like
but just
head
like
over, like a love at first sight. A love at first sight.
Exactly.
Awooga.
Exactly.
And Bloody Mary is like, you like?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like,
yes, but what?
But what's here? And Bloody Mary says like, this is Liat.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't speak any English, but she speaks a little French. And Cable's like, cool, I also speak a little French. And Bloody Mary's just like, all right, I'll leave you to it.
Yeah.
And leaves
Need
the
any
room
orange
laughing
slices?
ominously.
Any condoms? God love you. Like a big, like...
She truly leaves, like she... You know that gif of the witch leaving through the trap door?
Yes, yeah.
That's kind of how she leaves the room.
Exactly.
And then, like magnets crashing together, they kiss.
Yes.
And this girl just goes limp.
Yeah,
in his
truly
arms.
dissolves. And we get a little...
Which I would too. He's handsome.
He's handsome. And then we cut away to, like, a little bit later, and they're sitting on the ground.
They have their orange
clothed.
slices.
They have their orange slices.
But
and
the clothes were off. They have been reclothed.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I don't know.
I'm sorry.
I know that they fucked.
They definitely fucked in this room.
I know. I don't think that they fucked this time. Maybe they do. I thought
think
that they
they
fucked
do.
later,
I think they
but maybe
do.
I'm wrong. Anyway, they are sitting together and, like, trying to communicate. And he asks how she knows Mary, and she's like, "Ma mère," and he's like, "She's your mom." And I was like, "My guy, context clues. You gotta pull it together."
Yeah, God, no, Cable wasn't thinking with his head.
No,
when
or he was thinking with the
Liat
wrong head.
arrived.
Yeah.
And then we get the song
Younger Than
what
Springtime.
Song is this? Younger Than Springtime. And this is the first time we hear Lieutenant Cable sing. And
this is Captain
his
Von
gorgeous
Trapp.
singing voice. This is Captain Von Trapp. And I found the singing voice. The singing voice is gorgeous. I don't think it was a good, necessarily like a perfect match.
Yeah.
The way that, like, I think the singing voice for Emile Debec was perfect.
Great.
I think the singing voice for Cable is either just his speaking voice is... He's not a baritone, like,
yeah.
His voice lives in a higher register than I think the speaking voice of the singer who dubs him does. So it was a little jarring. I'm not mad about it.
No.
I love
Gorgeous
these songs.
song.
And he does I think Cable's the best actor in this film.
There's so many
I think
love
he
songs
does.
in this show. I'm like realizing like almost every other song is just a love song.
Every song. Yeah, which I'm going to talk about this when we get to it later, but like I have such a new profound appreciation for this musical because I was introduced to this when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I was a teenager.
Yeah.
And now I'm in my 30s and I'm like,
Oh.
I get the yearning.
Yeah.
But
oh, big yearn, big yearn.
The voices weren't a complete match for me, but it made up for it for the fact that like the singing is so beautiful, the song is so beautiful, and he is just holding her in his arms.
Again,
he's kind of flinging her around, and I'm like, support her neck.
I was like,
she's acting
she's
like a newborn.
Obviously a newborn. I'm gonna need you to give some neck support.
Yeah. And this is a gripe I have always had with South Pacific, which is Liat does not sing. And I wanted a duet between them, but the character of Liat has never sung.
It would have been
that is
great
a gripe I have
if
with,
they
like,
could have done Younger Than Springtime, where she sang it in French and he sang it in
I don't
English.
know why they made that decision, but it feels like a missed opportunity. Or maybe they were just like, there's too much happening.
Too much.
Also, like, but like, what if it was, what if, like, her response was like in her language or in French, like just something, because they're like, oh, she can't speak English, so she doesn't get to sing. Bullshit. Give me a lover's duet.
Yes, in 2 different languages. But this, we hear the ring-a-ling of the bell calling him back to the boat. He wanders back in a straight-up haze. We cut to Emil's place. It's the end of this big party that he's thrown with all of his local friends to meet Nellie. And she has...
Yeah, and it was a big success.
Oh, she has obviously had the best time. She is like that perfect level of tipsy, which I call my flowers tipsy. Just like so... Yeah, I got Anna. Full snarf.
I just taken a sip of water too. Oh God.
Flowers. This was me being tipsy and realizing that Anna had changed our shower curtain and put flowers into our bathroom at one point. So I was just lovely tipsy, getting home drunk and just being like, flowers. More flowers, which is how I now describe just the perfect level of tipsy, where you're just like grooving and having a good time.
Ooh, things are good.
The flowers drunk. So anyway,
Nellie has had a blast
She's
at
had
this party,
such
and
a
Emil
good
doesn't
time.
want her to leave. He's
No.
like coming up with all these excuses, and she's coming up with excuses like, oh, I have to return
Yeah.
the Jeep, and he's like, no, you don't.
Yeah.
That would be dumb. Then they'd know you snuck
Like,
out. You should stay forever.
I have to sneak around. He's like, then you might as well sneak back later in the night when less people are around. And she's like, you're absolutely right. And so she goes and is like
back,
polishing off champagne that are just like left in glasses.
They go from like the front of the house to the back of the house where we first met them when they were having tea with this beautiful vista. And we get a twin soliloquies reprise. And Nellie, again, happy drunk. She's like, I'm so happy we're the same kind of people.
I know.
We're both optimists.
I know. She's like, fundamentally, we're the same people. We have no chill. And I'm like, correct. Both of you have zero chill.
And she also makes a comment of like, we believe in the same things. And again, Nellie thinks she's open-minded.
Yes.
And this is important for what's coming later.
Yes.
But I want to say, so we get the twin soliloquies reprise, and we haven't had them singing at each other, kind of like finishing each other's sentences singing. And he has such a rich baritone that I did laugh and think of that girl in Annie.
Yeah.
Because Mitzi Gaynor has a beautiful voice, but then he comes in, you know that Nick Jonas meme that's going around? Where he's like giving his best in Les Mis, and then human sound Alfie Bow comes in.
Exactly. But they have
Natural
this,
acoustic
they
force Alfie
sing
Bow.
a couple reprises. So we get a reprise of I'm in Love, we get Cockeyed Optimist, but we finally have a big kiss again with the two of them.
We get our
and she's talking about like, it's just like we're an old married couple already, and he decides best time to break this news is right now. So
when she's drunk.
So he brings out his children, and Nellie instantly is just like, oh my God, you guys are the cutest things. So lovely to meet you. And like, they say hello and like learn each other's names. And then they run off to go to bed. And she's like, oh, that's so wonderful. Are they Henry's, your housekeepers? And he's like, no, they're mine. And she is just like, oh yeah, sure. And he's like, no, they're mine. I was married before to a Polynesian woman. She was charming and beautiful and witty, and I was very much in love. We had 2 children, but she passed, and we all live here together now. And we see a full panic attack from Nellie. Like heaving breaths and like starting to cry, but like talking through it and just babbling and just it's a good example of a panic attack.
Yeah, it's a good example of a panic attack. And dear listener, the root of the panic attack is that she cannot fathom that this man that she loves was in a relationship with someone who was a different race.
Yes. Yeah.
And I never clocked it before, but that conversation she has with Cable of like, she can't believe her mother is so prejudiced. Mm-hmm. And then she has the same reaction, and what a great contradiction.
Love it. Well,
like, that is such a good depiction.
It's such a
of, like,
classic human condition of just like, this thing that I've noticed in my parents, but I've never confronted in myself. I'm not like that, but also I've never been faced with it. So,
yeah. But she has a full panic attack. Mm-hmm. She's like, I have to leave. She runs away because she cannot fathom her own feelings, and she cannot handle her own feelings, and she cannot handle like this disappointment she feels. Yeah. And heartbreak that she feels, and she doesn't understand why but she like knows, but she's like, she comes up with a million excuses. That's not the reason why.
Yes. And she leaves, and Emil watches her go. Now, I will say this entire scene was obviously filmed during the day with a blue lens.
Oh my God. I'm such a film nerd, but like I always clock that where I'm like, they shot this.
I was like, the sky is blue. The sky is blue.
The sky is blue. I see clouds. Yeah. I see sunny. I see the sun. Yeah. But they put a blue lens.
They put a dark blue lens over it, and they're like, it is night, and everyone's just like, yes, it is.
Yes, it is. I'm going along with it, and it happens later as well. But the music swells. Emil watches her go, and we get a reprise of. The lyrics are, once you have found her, never let her go. There's so many love songs, I don't remember which one it was from, but it's a reprise. But we get that big, like, never let her go, as he watches, because he let her go. Yeah. The heartbreak. And then we get our
intermission.
Act break.
Love it.
And we get a proper intermission.
Incredible. So we cut to end of act break, and it is back on Bali Hai, and we see Liat running through the jungle to get to the beach, and Cable has come back to visit her again. We get a big embrace. He like lifts her in his arms to kiss her.
We get proper making out.
Oh, this is what I was talking about.
Authentic making
Their
out.
relationship was a big deal, which I will talk about in our dramaturgy. Mm-hmm. But they go to a local swimming hole, and they're doing like dives and jumps, and then they're making out underwater, and I was like, that's dangerous. And then
this is clearly a tank. This is
clearly a tank. I'm like, as someone who has been swimming in inland Polynesian places, the water's not that clear. Like, you don't want to open your mouth underwater.
But they come up out of the swimming hole, and they think they're alone, and surprise, Bloody Mary's there.
Mom's there.
She's like, you're happy. Look at you, lovebirds. I know Liat's happy. You love her, right? Well, surprise, an old French plantation owner wants to marry her. Yeah. What you gonna do?
And he protests, and he's like, well, she can't marry him. And then she's like, then you need to marry her. Uh-huh. And then we get the song Happy Talk, which is Mary basically talking about what their life would be like if he decided to stay, how happy they would be, and all they would do is swim and make love and kiss and be in the sand and be happy. And she's like, I've made so much money since the soldiers are being here. If the war goes on, I'll make more. I'll work, you guys play, and I'll give you all my money. Like, she's very committed to getting her daughter with this man.
My favorite lyric of this song is, you've got to have a dream. Mm-hmm. If you don't have a dream, how are you going to have a dream come true? Ugh. They get out of the water, mm-hmm. and Cable gives Liat a gift. He's like, he gives her his grandfather's pocket watch. Yeah.
Which his dad carried through the previous war.
Yeah. And then Mary kind of pushes him again, being like, so you're going to marry her, right? Mm-hmm. And Cable tells Mary, like...
Well, she talks about having kids, specifically.
Yeah. And he says to both of them, like, look, I love Liat, but I cannot marry her.
I can't marry her. And so there's an
And doesn't give a reason.
Yeah, there's an instant switch in Mary. She's like, then she's marrying Jacques Beret. This is your last chance. And she pulls Liat away.
This was your last chance. Yeah. And she destroys the watch. Yeah. She, like, throws the watch on the ground.
Yeah. And as he watches her being pulled away, we get a reprise of Younger Than Springtime, Were mm-hmm. You?
Yeah.
In the past tense.
Gayer Than Laughter, Were You?
Yeah.
He doesn't fight for Liat, though.
No.
He just watches Mary drag a tearful Liat away.
Yeah.
We cut to the main base where Nellie is leading rehearsals for the Thanksgiving show that all the nurses are putting on for the soldiers. Yeah. She's finishes the song and immediately breaks down crying.
Relatable.
Going through a breakup.
Girl, relatable.
And she gets led off, I think, by
commander and captain.
Yeah, okay.
And then
he sit her down.
And Luther is just like, all right, everyone, eyes to yourself, back to rehearsals, and starts trying to do the steps and fails. It's so funny.
I love Luther. But commander and captain sit her down on a palm tree mm-hmm. nearby, and they're like, hey, we know you asked to be transferred.
Yeah.
What the fuck is that about?
Yeah.
And she's just inconsolable. She's like, I can't talk about it.
Yeah.
And they guilt her into staying, essentially, by being like, look, whatever you're going through is your own personal business. That's totally fine.
But we need you here.
But you're underestimating the impact that you're having here.
Yes.
You say this is a little show, but like, these men have
Everyone's
been away
looking
from
forward
home
to it.
for years. This is the big show for them. And like,
Yeah.
you are responsible for morale, essentially. We need you to stay and do this
Yes.
show for the soldiers. And so we cut to the Thanksgiving Follies
Which, once
show.
again, my moment of joy is a song that does not matter. So we get
No.
the song Honey Bun, which I love this song so much. I've sung this song before for things. It's such a blast. It's such a silly, like, goofy clown
comedy burlesque
song.
Nellie's dressed as a sailor. Haha, so funny because she's an audience of sailors singing about her sweetheart.
Yes.
And then out comes Billis in a coconut bra.
Yeah, and like a
the honey
fishnet
bun.
skirt. And during this, Emil comes to the back of the audience with a bouquet of flowers, and we see him watching the performance. Then, after the first act is done, which is...
I had forgotten. I don't like how much the audience doesn't like Billis.
Oh, I think that they're just teasing him in good fun. I don't think that, like, they don't like him.
But there's a lot of... No, it's not that they don't like him as a person, but, like, there's a lot more booing and, like, throwing of things at him than I remember in a stage production.
Yeah.
Granted, that's just...
Guys.
I don't know. It's a small gripe, but I was just like, okay, this went on for too long.
Yeah. I see what you mean. I agree with that.
Yeah.
After the first song is done, which is just Nellie and Luther on the stage, and they're like starting the next round of this song with like more people, Luther comes on with a bouquet of flowers and gives it to her, and she is very touched, gives him a quick peck on the lips, and runs off stage for her change. And Luther's like shocked. Then we get the rest of the song. There's a big Ziegfeld Follies reference of like all the girls in these big outfits, and
see, for me it's so funny. It's definitely referencing Follies, but what I thought of was Grease 2.
Incredible.
These costumes are insane.
Yes. It's a big hit.
I think you know why. Sorry. You know why it made me think of Grease 2 is because they did not have a like the soldiers, the nurses in the offices, they didn't have a big budget. They didn't have access to Ziegfeld Follies money, so they did their best, and it became Grease 2.
Yes, 100%. But it's still a big hit with the guys. They do, they sing the anthem of the Army, and they sing the anthem of the Navy as well, and all of the guys, like, stand up and sing for their group as well.
There's so many extras.
There's
many
like,
extras. Easily 300 soldiers.
100 extras.
10,000 Frenchmen.
50 million.
50 million Frenchmen. I'll never remember the number correctly.
It's because we couldn't find this movie. Okay. So, at the end of the show, Nellie goes backstage and talks to Luther, and it's just like, thank you so much for these flowers. You don't know how much this means to me. And he's like, listen,
I needed them.
I think that you're wonderful, but I can't be that asshole. I didn't think of this. These aren't from me. Here's the card that came with them. And so she goes and reads it, and it's this longing, yearning. Again, the yearning poem from Emil.
It's a love note.
Yeah.
And he's wondering how soon until his love will return to him. And it's backstage. Most people are like heading out because there's going to be like an after party or whatever,
and
like a Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah.
Cable sees Nellie backstage, and he goes up to her and he asks her what's wrong, and she's shocked to see him.
Yes.
We learn that Cable's actually been in the hospital for a couple weeks, unclear, with malaria.
Yeah.
And he got sick after he came back from Bali Hai. And she's like, what are you doing out of bed? And he's like, I'm fine. I came to see the show.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, you didn't come to see the show. You're out because you want to go back to Bali Hai.
And he agrees and says...
He's like, yeah, you called me, you're right.
Yeah. And he says that he loves Liat, but he's frustrated with himself because he feels conflicted about marrying her and staying, and he's frustrated with that feeling because he doesn't know why he feels that way, which is such a introspective, like, acknowledgement of just, like, I know what I'm feeling, and I'm frustrated with the feelings that I'm feeling because they don't make sense.
Yeah. It's like, I love her, so and I want to marry her, but I know I shouldn't marry her, but that shouldn't matter because I love her, and like I told her I couldn't, but like I can't imagine going back to my life in the States anymore. And he's like imagining staying in on the island and like marrying Liat. And Nellie shares this feeling, but she's like, look, your confusion makes sense to me. But I think people like us just need to go back to where they belong, which is to say people like us need to go back and like marry people like us.
Right. And she asks about his girlfriend back in Philly.
Yeah, and we get the song "My Girl Back Home," which I actually don't think is in the stage production.
It was cut
added
from the stage production. Yeah.
I love this song.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's funny the way he did it, but I do love this song, and I love opportunities like that where things that were cut are brought back in, and they're justified for why they were brought back in. But the way he starts this song is he's like, oh my God, that's right, I have a girlfriend back.
Oops.
My girl back home. I almost forgot.
Yeah. And they think about their homes
kid, I
and
liked her a lot. Yeah.
what they experienced back home and how different
and
their
how
lives
far
are
away
here
they are.
and what different people
and how much
they
they've
are
grown
now.
as people. Yeah.
And then
they duet the song, and then Emil
interrupts and asks to speak to Nellie alone. And this scene is devastating. He asks to speak to Nellie alone, and Cable goes to leave, and she like grabs his arm. She's like, no, don't leave. So throughout all of this, Cable is still there, but he is turned away, so side facing, so trying to give Emil privacy, but also like following Nellie's request to not leave. It's like such a hard place to be in. But Emil...
And Nellie immediately launches in with excuses of like, oh, I've been meaning to talk to you. And Emil is like straight to the point.
Why do you want to be transferred?
He has heard that Nellie has asked for a transfer, and he demands what she means.
Yes.
Like, what does this mean? And she says, it means I can't marry you.
And he's like, is it because of the children? And she's like, no, your children are wonderful. And he's like, is it because of my previous wife? And she says, yes. I don't know why I feel this way.
I can't help it.
I can't help it. It was born in me.
It's emotional. It's an emotional feeling that was born in me. I can't help it. And Emil says, bullshit.
Yeah.
He doesn't say this, but he explicitly says, like, bullshit. You were not born with racism.
Well, yeah. He's like, I don't believe you. And she turns to Cable and she's like, explain what we were just talking about, like, that we feel this way. And Cable does not engage in this conversation. But eventually Nellie sees Captain and calls him and like
she runs away. She sees an excuse. She sees a way out and she runs away. And asks the captain to like drive her away.
Exactly.
And Emil and Cable are left alone, and Emil's like, what is she talking about? Can you like, what is this feeling?
And then we get the most important song in musical theater canon, and I will stand by that.
And I think here's the thing. Emil's questioning of what Nellie is talking about, like, he came from France. There's no racism in France.
Yeah, French people got some problems of their own.
And so, this is my question for you, Grace. Is he asking this because he genuinely doesn't understand what she's talking about? He's never experienced racism before? Or is he's like, I can't understand how a woman I love so deeply could feel these things that I don't agree with?
I think that I
can't comprehend.
I think that he is... someone who left France a long time ago and has been living amongst people in a new place where he is the minority for a very long time. I think that he is also getting caught on her words, which often happens in an argument where you focus on one thing as opposed to seeing the bigger picture, because she says it's born in me. And his question to Cable is, what do you mean? She says it's born in you. I don't believe that. I can't believe that. She says it's born in you. Explain that. So he's like focusing on a single thing from an argument.
He's hyperfixated.
And he's been living in a place in which he is a minority person for a very long time. And I feel like maybe he's just, I think he was so cockeyed optimist about this relationship that it took him so off guard, because she was so warm and welcoming before. And so it just, I think it threw him. I think that if he was coming at this, again, not from an emotional standpoint, but from a rational standpoint, he'd be able to like work through this himself. But in this deeply emotional moment, he's looking to Cable to explain something that Nellie is having a hard time putting into words herself.
And he asks Cable, he was like, what? I don't believe that. What does she mean when she says it's born in her? And Cable says, it's not born in you. It happens after you're born. And we get the best song is it the most beautifully sung song? No, but it is the most important song in this movie, which is You've Got to Be Carefully Taught.
Yes.
Which is Cable explaining to Emile that Nellie's feelings are a product of the environment she was raised in. And it's an environment he was raised in as well, and he can recognize it.
Yes.
Which is you are taught as a child to be afraid of people that don't look like you.
To hate the people your relatives hate.
Yeah. And this is the most important song in this. And the fact that this song is still relevant is...
heartbreaking.
Heartbreaking. And it's such an important song. And... I'm not saying it gets undermined by all the other songs in this musical.
It's not the most popular song.
This is what this musical is about.
100%. And in the dramaturgy, I'll talk about what they went through to keep this in the show.
Yeah.
Because
fuck you, Hays Code.
Yeah. This wasn't the Hays Code. It wasn't the Hays Code.
It's not the Hays Code. It's called
fuck you, Tim Burton.
The name is Breen. The Breen something.
Yeah.
But... Cable said after the end of the song, Cable says Emile has the right idea, like living on an island far away from that internalized racist
hatred
bullshit.
Yeah.
And Cable says like I don't want to go back to that closed-minded place. I want to stay here. And Emile counters that with like, well, yes, this is a great place, but when all you care about, Nellie, is taken away from you, then there is no place.
Yeah.
Like, there is nothing, I have nothing to live for.
And he sings the song, This Nearly Was Mine.
God, I forgot about this song. I cried.
Me too. Yeah.
And he starts the song being like, I came so close to having everything I ever wanted. This nearly was mine. I have goosebumps. I love this song so much. It is such a sad song.
Yeah. So, at the end of this song...
big moment. Yeah. It's private. Cable's still there.
Cable's still there. Now, Cable chooses this moment to be a representative of the U.S. Marines and is like, I understand. You've lost everything. You know, when I get broken up with, I always like to go hunting. And perhaps we should go to hunting together and we should do this mission together.
Yeah, what he says is, I'd be interested in going hunting up on Marie Louise.
Heard there's a lot of
hunting up there.
Big game.
Cargo boats, carriers, troop ships, big game. I'm sorry, I'm so impressed with this actor.
Yeah.
I thought he found a really good balance of like that restrained acting from the 50s but he actually is like there's stuff underneath it.
Yeah.
And I was really impressed with him.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's great.
Cut to Emile and Cable joining the captain and the commander in a strategy meeting.
Yes.
I like to imagine that they went up to them at this Thanksgiving dinner being like, we're doing this, and just pulled them away from the Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah. And Emile's talking about how they were going to get on this island. He's like, well, I have a lot of local people that I'm friends with that are fishermen. So if we can get just close enough to where the fishing grounds are, you can drop us there and then they'll take us in and we'll be able to, be a little bit undercover that way. So they are all set to leave. They're like waiting to like get on the plane. And in the water, we see Luther under like some debris.
A fake flotsam hat.
Yeah, like swimming towards this plane. And I was like, this can only go poorly. What is Argoon up to?
I did not recognize it was Luther. Yeah. So at first I thought it was like Cable. And then I saw Cable was on the deck. I'm like, who is this?
Who are you? Yeah.
And then we cut to the plane with Cable and Emile on the plane with the same pilot from the opening scene flying to Marie Louise.
Yes.
The plane gets hit, gets a big hole blown in it, and from the back of the plane opens a door. Luther's like, do you know there's a hole in this plane?
Yeah. Big energy of Pirates of the Caribbean of like, stop blowing holes in my ship.
And it's Luther Billis. He was stowing away because he wants to go back to Bali Hai.
Yeah, well,
no, it's not that
I think he's trying to help.
He wants to go back to Bali Hai. He's trying to help. He's like, you're doing a dangerous mission, and I want to help. I want to be a part of this.
Yeah.
And Cable immediately is like,
furious.
Get the furious. You are jeopardizing this whole mission. This is a secret mission. You're not even supposed to know about it.
Yeah.
My question is, this must have been, I guess these are seaplanes, and that's how Billis got onto the plane. Yes. He swam out to it.
Yeah.
But I didn't think that when I watched it. I was like, if the plane took off from the land, why is he swimming? So it must have been a seaplane.
Yeah, 100%. With these islands, especially with how mountainous they are, truly there's not like a lot of,
There's
that's
not a
why
lot
there's
of-
this one particular atoll in the middle that was really important to the war, because it was one of the few places that had like a long flat landing place for
Yeah.
planes to land and refuel.
And honestly, anything that was flat was probably already like a plantation. It was probably already like farming.
Yeah.
Set aside for farming. Anyway,
Luther
Phyllis
ends up
and
falling out of
Cable-
the plane.
He falls out of the plane because he and Cable are fighting. He accidentally falls out the hole.
Yep.
He deploys his parachute. This is a scene that was added for this film.
Yes.
This is like to showcase this actor's comedic timing.
And also, we have the money to do this, so let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny that you talk about money because that does come up later. But he deploys his parachute and he goes, so it's just going to be one of those days. Huh? And he lands in the water.
They chuck a lifeboat out after him.
Yeah, Cable's like, he's gonna drown. And so the pilots like deploy a lifeboat after him. He gets in the lifeboat and immediately, because he lands in the shallows of
Near
one of the islands, he's immediately shot at by
he's like trying to paddle away with the butt of his rifle.
Yeah. And they call in like, we gotta get him out of there.
Yeah.
No man left behind. So, but like the pilot can't go back for him, so they call in, being like, we gotta get like
someone else has to go in
for him.
So there's a bunch of other planes that come in to like distract and like they get him out. But while this is all happening on this island, on the other island near Marie Louise, they find the fishing boats, and Emile is like, can you set us down here? And the pilot's like, Emile, I can set you down anywhere, and drops them off. And then we cut back to
the main island
where they are
Phyllis is in the
chewing
captain's
out
office.
Luther.
Oh man, they are chewing him out. They're like, your stunt cost the Navy $600,000.
Yeah.
And Phyllis is like, wow, my dad said I'd never be worth a dime.
I know.
But the pilot comes to Phyllis's defense, being like, look, was that incredibly dumb of him?
100%.
However, with him being there and having to send in other planes, it was a fantastic diversion.
Yeah.
We got Cable and Emile onto that island safely, unnoticed.
Yeah.
Like, that wouldn't have happened. The mission wouldn't have been such a success if Phyllis hadn't been a fucking idiot.
Yeah, 100%. And while that is happening, like right after he runs out, we get the first report from Emile and Cable saying like, here's the weather, and then passing it off. Okay, so here's the troop movements. And so it's working. Mm-hmm. They landed, they were able to get in, and they are hiding.
And they have a good vantage point, and they're able to begin their mission of reporting troop movements through the pass. We cut to Nellie in the infirmary.
Like 2 weeks later.
2 weeks later, like doing her nurse jobs, but she keeps hearing the wounded soldiers talking about how great Cable and the Frenchmen are doing, and how they're so brave to be behind enemy lines, and oh my gosh, it's been 2 weeks, I couldn't survive 2 weeks in enemy
everyone
wilderness.
thought that they wouldn't make it 3 days, like.
Yeah, and we cut very quickly to see that is this when we...
Yeah, so on Marie Louise, there are 2 planes that are flying over where they're hiding. Yeah. So at this point, so much of the movements have been intercepted by the U.S. Navy that now they know that something is going on and their movements are being reported. So there are 2 planes flying over the island to try and find the spies, essentially.
Yeah, to find Emile and Cable, and they're radioing in, being like, we are... like, we have to move right now. Like, they know we're here. They're looking for us. That means it's working.
Yes.
So Nellie goes to the captain's office to ask a question, but she hears on the radio, Emile... Is this when she's like, who is the Frenchman?
Yeah, and they're like, yes, it is Emile Debec, and he is there with Cable. And right after they confirm that, they hear another report.
It's Emile radioing in saying, I have no time, but I'm radioing in to let you know some very sad news, which is Lieutenant Cable has died.
Yes.
It is implied he was shot and killed by the planes. Yes. We don't see that happen.
There is like a little moment where we see them like break cover and try and make it to a new thing, and then bullets fly after them. So we do see that one small scene. Yeah. Yeah.
But he also reports that the Japanese are pulling out.
Evacuating.
We can tell that they're leaving. There's going to be a mass movement of ships through the pass, and this will be the best opportunity we have to do the most destruction.
Absolutely.
I have to, like, I'm being shot, and then suddenly he's
like
being
cut
shot
off
at.
by
He has to cut
gunfire.
his radio short.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Nellie is devastated to learn that he has not only been in danger for the last 2 weeks, but she hears him get cut off by gunfire. She's like, I'm afraid I'm never going to see this man again. Yeah. She walks to the water and has this big, like, monologue to herself where she's like, Emil, I need you to live so that I can tell you
what an
I was
idiot
a fool.
I was.
I was a pinhead.
Pinhead!
Yes.
Sweet pea.
Nothing else matters but him. Nothing else matters but you. You need to live. You need to live.
Yes.
And we get a reprise of Don't Die Before I Can Tell You This.
Yes.
And we get a reprise of Younger Than Springtime.
Then Bloody Mary and Liat arrive looking for Lieutenant Cable. And there is a moment where it is implied because Mary says we need to find Lieutenant Cable because now Liat has to marry him. And it's...
I didn't hear that. I thought it was that... But Bloody Mary says Liat will marry no one but Cable.
Oh, I thought that there was
so
I thought that the implication was that she was pregnant.
I didn't catch that. I heard them say Liat will marry no one but Cable, and I'm like, did Liat stand up to her mother and is like refusing to marry this other guy?
I prefer that narrative.
Nellie doesn't know who they are. We never see Nellie interact with Bloody Mary or Liat, so she has no context for who these people are. So she's like, how can I help you? Mm-hmm. And Bloody Mary says like, we're looking for Lieutenant Cable. Liat will marry no one but Lieutenant Cable. And so we see Nellie realize, oh, this is the girl that Cable loved. Mm-hmm. And I have to tell them Cable's dead.
And
which is just
heartbreaking. And she just wraps her in a big hug and just holds her. We don't see her telling them. Cut the next day, the troops are packing up to like manage this big troop movement and like make their final offensive in the area. And Luther and some of the other guys like Stewpot and someone else go to offer themselves as distractions again for them to try and get Emil off. And they're like, toss us in the water, give us a boat, like in 3 different areas.
You saw how good one lifeboat was at distracting. What about 3?
3.
And the captain's like, you're all idiots. I really appreciate it, but we actually already underway. Had a rescue mission this morning. Yeah. Like, well, did you get him? But the captain doesn't say whether they were successful in saving Emil or not, but the captain does say it would be a real shame if there were 2 men, these 2 men, Cable and Emil, were able to like really turn the tide. Mm-hmm. We weren't able to save one. It would be a damn shame if we can't save the other. Yes. But he does not say if they were successful or not.
So we cut to Nellie on Emil's like beautiful veranda, chatting with the kids, doing her best.
They do not speak English. They speak French. She speaks
very bad French. Chatting with them, trying to explain what's going on, making sure they're fed, making sure they're cared for, telling them that she loves them. And just as she is saying this, and they're trying to get her to sing the cute little song Dites-moi,
song.
Just as that is happening, Emil returns and sees her with the children and her saying, you must be nice to me because I love you both very dearly. And they sing the song and playing together. And as they're singing the song, he comes up and joins in with the singing. And
I am gonna laugh at this because she is the kids are singing like kids, and she's singing like Dites-moi is like a quick little song, like there's not a lot, and then he comes in like that girl from Annie, just it so doesn't match the energy, but it's so funny. But the kids are elated to see their father. They run up and hug him. Nellie looks at him teary-eyed. He comes and he just like sits the kids down. They sit across from each other. They hold hands under the table. We get the
classic final moment of under the table, hands clasped as they look at each other and don't say anything.
And then the camera on the crane goes up and then pans out over the islands, and that is the end of South Pacific. I have a very silly giggle for the end of this, which is that the kids are eating soup. Yeah. And I'm like, in 90 degrees and humidity, that better be a gazpacho. And also, so she had set the table for 3. Then Emil comes and sits with them, and so she just gives him the full serving bowl and the ladle to use as a spoon. It's so funny, but I'm just like, who is serving hot soup right now?
But their hand under the table, that shot, like, is burned into my mind, like, as one of the, again, my favorite emotion, and I think it was because of this movie, to leave a musical with is sad but hopeful. And man, does that shot of the hands clasped under the table after this big trauma really exemplify that feeling. Sad but hopeful. Ugh.
Yeah. Ugh. What a good musical.
It's such a
We're both crying.
It's fine. I'm fine. This is normal.
It's fine. This is a long musical. This is going to be a long episode.
Oh my God.
I feel like I don't even need to ask. Grace, what did you think of this movie?
This feels like my childhood. I told Anna that like I had such a visceral flashback to my childhood and sitting in our TV room, because we had a room for the TV, watching.
Because we grew up in the 90s.
Watching this on VHS tape and just like falling in love with this story, and it like burrowed itself so deep into like who I am and like the love stories that I love and the stories that I enjoy. And like I said, my favorite musical ending is Sad But Hopeful, and I genuinely think that this is a huge reason for that. Yeah, no, I love it. I love it. I mean, this movie itself, like the actual construction of this movie, has its moments, but this story,
we're gonna talk about its flaws. But I think
this story is gorgeous.
It is a rare musical that truly can still be performed today.
Yes,
and it is not a caricature of the time. Correct. It is a good representation of not only like what was going on politically, socially, prejudice-wise, but the songs, the
music is
and the songs hold up. Yeah, it's one of those few musicals where I'm like, I would watch this. I would see a stage production of this today, any day of the week, any decade. Let's go. Yeah. Shall we do a little dramaturgy report? Yeah. I really want to talk about this director. Dramaturgy report. Dramaturgy report. So, you couldn't have known this, but I think it's really fascinating that we did this on the heels of Matilda, because this is also a film where someone who was involved in the original stage production served as director. Ooh, fantastic. And I think that is partly what makes it so successful. This was directed by Joshua Lockwood Logan III, who was an American theater and film director, playwright, screenwriter, and actor. He co-wrote the musical with Rodgers and Hammerstein.
I did know that.
And I think the fact that he also served as director on this, he did not, and he also directed the stage production. He directed and co-wrote the stage production, and then he went on to direct the movie version of it. And I think that is partly what made it so successful, is that it was a good balance of, we are outside the confines of theater, like let's do these big aerial shots, let's use the space that we have, but also it was true and it wasn't Hollywoodized. Yeah. And I think like we literally just had that with Matilda, and I'm like, wow, what like back-to-back good examples of casting, not only casting musical theater people, but also what someone who is involved with the project the whole time can
and loves the project. Yeah.
And loves the project. He shares the Pulitzer with Rodgers and Hammerstein for this. Yeah. So he began his career as an actor, then moved into director and writer. He had some Broadway successes in the 30s and 40s. He then stopped to serve in World War II, and he resumed directing after World War II with Annie Get Your Gun on Broadway, which ran for over 1,000 performances. He then directed and co-wrote South Pacific. This show earned him a Tony Award for Best Director. Yeah. And then he would jump back and forth between Hollywood and Broadway for the rest of his career. Yeah. He was constantly directing on Broadway, directing in Hollywood. He received an Oscar nomination for his film adaptation of Picnic, his own, like, which he had directed previously on Broadway. And something that I thought was just really cool for the time is that he was very open with his struggles with bipolar disorder. Yeah. Yeah. Love that. We've seen this cinematographer before already. This is Leon Shamroy. We saw him with King and I. Hell yeah. State Fair, and There's No Business Like Show Business. Hell yeah. So I'm not going to go into him a lot. He was an American cinematographer. He worked he shot in Technicolor. He and Charles Lang share the record for most Oscar noms for cinematography. What's fun is, so we've seen this editor before. This editor is Robert Lawlin Simpson. We've seen him before, but I wasn't discussing editors before. So we saw him in The King and I. He edited The King and I as well. We obviously see his work in South Pacific. He edited No Business Like Show Business. Great. But he's also very famous for editing The Grapes of Wrath. Ah! Like, he did 100 films in his 55-year career. He spent 10 years at... he also worked with director George Seaton on a lot of projects, including Miracle on 34th Street, which, coming out of the Christmas season, cute, a wonderful throwback. And finally, he spent 10 years at Paramount and then 35 years at 20th Century Fox. insane.
Found his home.
Yeah. And that's our director, cinematographer, and editor.
All right, so I got a lot to say. All right.
Okay, I'm listening.
So I'm going to talk about how the stage performance got made, and then the differences between the stage version and the movie version, and we'll go from there. So this was originally based off of a best-selling book, which was a bunch of short stories about someone's time in the South Pacific whenever they were serving.
Is it written from Nellie's point of view?
No.
Like, is it a woman's point of view or it's a man's point of view?
It's a man's point of view.
Okay.
Well, and it's not really. So it's like each vignette kind of like is a different character's perspective, a different story, essentially. So it's not like there's one main character that's viewing all of this. It's just different stories of different things that he had seen or heard or you know, all of that. So Joshua Logan and Leland Hayward were like, I think this is going to be the next big thing. What ended up happening, so at first they were like, hey, author, we would like to purchase the rights from you for $500. And he's like, actually, I would like 1% of all profits. And that was the correct choice.
That was the correct choice.
Whenever they started their work on the adaptation, the author Mishner worked mostly with the lyricist because they wanted to make sure that, like, because neither Rogers or Hammerstein obviously had like a military background. But Rogers was really concerned that for the music, they would have to like use ukuleles and guitars, which is what they associated with like island music. But Mishner was like, I never heard a single ukulele or guitar whenever I was on the island, so feel free to never use them. Soon after they purchased the rights, they decided not to include a ballet because this was pretty recent off of the success of Oklahoma, and Oklahoma kind of set the tone that every show kind of has a dream ballet. And
you gotta have a dream ballet.
And for the next few shows after that, you do see a little bit of like a dream sequence in a lot of shows, and this is the first one where they were like, I don't think that it matches the tone. So they decided not to include one. From the book, there were 2 stories that covered romances, and they decided to include both of them. And what made this interesting is that what was conventional at the time, like in Oklahoma, is that there was a serious romance and there was a comedic romance. And with this one, they were like, hey, these are both going to be serious romances. They are both going to be focused on racial prejudice, and they're going to, and we're going to approach them equally and not like an A plot, B plot. These both have the same importance to the show.
I mean, I do think it's a little bit of an A plot, B plot. Like,
really?
I think it is Emil and Nellie's story, but Liat and Cable are like, it's like 60-40 for me. It's not like 80-20.
Yeah.
It's not like a true B plot.
Yeah.
But I do think if I have to say, like, it's Nellie and Emil's
I think
story.
if Liat had lines, then it would truly be 50-50.
So true. 50-50. Justice for Liat.
Justice for Liat. So they also ended up pushing a bunch of different soldiers' stories into the character of Luther. So he was an amalgamation of a lot of different plot lines from this book. And they were like, he's going to be the comedic relief. We're not going to have a romance be the comedic relief. We're going to have this guy who sort of is a representation of a bunch of crazy stories.
This wild and crazy guy.
Yeah. Now, normally what would happen is Rogers would compose the music once he received the lyrics from Hammerstein. Now, a number of stories talked about the speed with which the music for South Pacific was written. So apparently Happy Talk was composed in like 20 minutes, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And then...
I can see that, though.
Now, of course, this is when things were sent by messenger. So apparently Hammerstein, who had been sent the lyrics by messenger, whenever he called to check whether Rogers had received the lyrics, heard, yeah, we got the lyrics and we're done with the music too. Like, it was just truly so fast. Bali Hai was reported that it was composed in 10 minutes, but really what it was is that the main note, the Bali Hai, that was what was like solidified as the main theme. And what's interesting about that, one of my fun facts now, is that jump, that is a perfect octave, which is the same as somewhere over the rain. Yeah, it's the same thing, which as someone who like had to memorize like how to find octaves easily and like to think of different songs, it's fun to like find those moments. Now, it was originally opened on Broadway on April 7th, 1949 at the Majestic Theater. 3 days after the opening, Pinza, who was the opera singer who played Emile de Becque in the original, he signed a contract with MGM to star in the films once his obligation to the show had expired. Now, he ended up leaving like a little over a year later in June of 1950 because he was an opera singer, and opera doesn't perform 8 shows a week. And so he didn't have the training on how to measure his voice out so that it could last for 8 shows. And so Mary Martin talked about, who played Nellie Forbush in the original, she talked about how he often would like go all out in the beginning of the week, and by the end he would have no voice and he would have to have his understudy come on. So he just wasn't didn't have the experience of a musical theater schedule, which is quite rigorous.
Quite different from an opera schedule.
So it ended up closing January 16th, 1954, after 1,925 performances. At the time, it was the second longest running musical in Broadway history, right after Oklahoma. At the final performance, Myron McCormick, who was the only cast member who remained from the opening, led the performers and audience in a version of Auld Lang Syne, and the curtain did not fall but remained raised as the audience left the theater. Which just I don't know why that just hits me.
Yeah.
Talking about the music and lyrics, so the main difference from the film and the Broadway versions is that the first 2 scenes are switched. So in the Broadway version, we start with Emile and Nellie, and they are the first 2 people that we meet, and we get the song Some Enchanted Evening like 15 minutes in. It's like one of the first songs that we hear, and then only after we meet them do we go down to the beach and meet the soldiers, where instead they swap this, and now Some Enchanted Evening isn't heard until like 45 minutes into the film.
45 minutes through.
Yeah. Now, since we're on music and lyrics, I do want to talk a little bit about You've Got to Be Carefully Taught and what they went through to try and keep it in the show.
Yeah.
So they got a lot of scrutiny for this particular honestly, they got a lot of scrutiny for the plot in general and the commentary that it had about relationships between different races and ethnic groups. Specifically, this song was judged to be incredibly controversial or, quote, downright inappropriate for a musical theater song. Rodgers and Hammerstein were so committed to this, they risked the entire venture to keep this song in the production. So after the debut, it faced legislative challenges regarding its decency and communist agenda. Crazy. This was the 50s. While the show was on tour, especially in the South, Georgia lawmakers introduced a bill outlawing entertainment containing, quote, an underlying philosophy inspired by Moscow. Crazy. So this is one of my things that I find so funny is when laws are added that are about one thing. Like, they're just like, if these 8 conditions that apply to exactly this one thing that we don't like are met, then you can't do it. It's like, team, we gotta pull it together. One legislator said that a song justifying interracial marriage was implicitly a threat to the American way of life. Now, Rodgers and Hammerstein defended this with everything that they had, and the author, Michener, recalled the authors replied stubbornly that this number represented why they had wanted to do this play, and that even if it meant the failure of the production, it was going to stay in. So
good.
Big shout out and a thank you to Rodgers and Hammerstein sticking to their guns and making sure that this song made it in, because again, it's deeply important, and it is truly it covers the main theme of this, like, emotional crux of this show. Talking about actors and casting, so I'm going to talk a little bit about how they got cast, and then I'm going to go into Mitzi Gaynor because this is her most popular role. So the original plan, like I said, was to have Ezio Pinza and Mary Martin, who were the 2 original leads, reprise their roles in this film, but unfortunately, Ezio Pinza died in May 1957.
Very suddenly.
Very suddenly, and at first they were like, do we still cast Mary Martin? But they didn't think that they could find someone who matched the powerhouse that was Mary Martin. And also at that point, Mary Martin was like in her early 40s. And so they were like, she might actually be too old for this role at this point, especially with a camera, which is not always very flattering. They were thinking about a bunch of different people for Nellie, so Doris Day, Elizabeth Taylor, but ultimately Mitzi Gaynor, who tested twice for it, was cast.
The fact that they made her test twice. I'm sorry. How dare you?
Well, they really wanted Elizabeth Taylor, but she choked in her audition and couldn't sing.
No, they really wanted Doris Day. Well, they offered it to Doris Day first.
Yes.
And she passed.
Yes. They cast Rossono Brazzi, an Italian man, as Emile, but it was originally offered to Howard Keel, our classic baritone, who probably could have sung his own stuff, but that's a different story. And then Ray Walston, noted Broadway musical actor, played the part of Luther Billis, and he had previously played that part in London. So it was great to see someone that was so comfortable with that role returning to it.
And I love that they gave him even more opportunities to showcase his comedic skills. He was so funny. He was a bunch of my giggles. So Mitzi Gaynor. Mitzi Gaynor is interesting because she had such an impact, but she stopped performing in films after 1968. She was just done. So she signed a 7-year contract with 20th Century Fox at age 17. She was in a bunch of things, but at first her name was Mitzi Gerber, and a Fox studio executive was like, that doesn't sound exactly right. So they ended up coming up with a name that used the same initials to make things a little bit easier in the transition. She made her film debut in the musical My Blue Heaven with Betty Grable and Dan Daly starring, and she had a supporting role. She then was in the musical biopic Golden Girl in 1951, which had a pretty good success. She was also one of several stars that was in the anthology We're Not Married, and then was top billed in the 1952 musical Bloodhounds of Broadway. She was cast in a bunch of different stuff with Fox: The I Don't Care Girl, Down Among the Sheltering Palms, Three Young Texans. Her most popular film with her time at Fox was There's No Business Like Show Business, which we've seen, with Ethel Merman, Donald O'Connor, Marilyn Monroe. In 1956, she was also in the remake of Anything Goes with Bing Crosby and Donald O'Connor, again, one that we've already done. Paramount also cast her in The Birds and the Bees. She was in The Lady Eve, The Joker is Wild. She was working really hard for a long time. But, of course, her greatest international fame came from this role as Nellie Forbush. For this performance, she was nominated for a Golden Globe Award for Best Actress at the 1959 awards. After this, she did a couple of more things: Happy Anniversary, Surprise Package, where she worked with Yul Brynner and Noel Coward. But her last film role was For Love or Money in 1963, starring Kirk Douglas. After that, she did a lot of small things and a lot of, she did a couple of TV stuff with, the Beatles for a while. She did, a bunch of, dance review stuff, but she fully retracted from performing movies. She had one husband her whole life. They never had any kids, but they had, a very loving and committed relationship. For her contribution to the motion picture industry, she is a star on the Walk of Fame. In April 2007, she was honored by the Museum of Television and Radio in Los Angeles with a special evening celebrating her television specials of the 60s and 70s. So she went into specials and away from movies because I think it was less of a commitment. It's less of a commitment, yeah.
The sold-out event, Mitzi Gaynor Razzle Dazzle The Special Years, featured a screening followed by a panel discussion with her and Bob Mackie, who did so many of her costumes. And in conjunction with that event, the museum also featured a month-long exhibit, Mitzi by Mackie, which was all of her Emmy-winning costumes from her specials.
I love that.
I know. In September 2017, she was inducted into the Great American Songbook Hall of Fame, which celebrates lyricists, composers, and performers who helped create the soundtrack of our lives. And she passed away very recently in October of 2024.
A good long life.
I know.
I love Mitzi Gaynor.
I love her. God, she's so fun.
In terms of reviews, reception, and release, so I'm not going to go into what was it up against at the box office, just because I feel like that's not as relevant as it is. We weren't churning out 20 movies every weekend back then.
Yeah.
So but what they did do is they did do a road show for this, which is what we did for movies back back in ye olden times. It opened in March of 1958, and it was originally a 3-hour version of the roadshow. So that's what that archival footage is. But it was cut to 2.5 hours for general release. It earned $7 million across the US and Canada. It was a big hit in the UK, and it actually played continuously at the Dominion Theatre in London for nearly 4.5 years.
Crazy. Wild. That movies used to run that long.
Crazy. After 4 years, it had grossed $9.4 million in the UK, which surpassed Gone with the Wind at the time as the highest grossing film in the UK. However, it performed badly in other European countries such as France, Germany, and Italy, probably because of its depiction of the war. And until The Sound of Music was released 7 years later, it was the highest grossing Rodgers and Hammerstein musical film of all time.
Yes.
Let's talk about singing and dancing.
Yes. So a lot of people were dubbed. So
yeah, a lot of people were dubbed.
Bloody Mary, Juanita Hall, who came from the original stage production, she was dubbed by Muriel Smith, who did play Bloody Mary in the London production.
And part of that was Juanita Hall was with this production for a long, long time.
She found her role and she stuck with it.
She found her role, and I think they said like her singing voice just wasn't what it was or what they wanted it to be, so they dubbed her with Muriel Smith.
Yes.
Met opera star Giorgio Tosi provided the singing voice for Emile.
Yep.
John Kerr played Cable, and he was dubbed by Bill Lee.
Hell yeah,
as
Bill
we
Lee.
Discussed. Ken Clark, who was Stewpot, was dubbed by Thurl Ravenscroft.
Yes.
That we've talked about. So only Gaynor and Walston were the only principal cast members.
Yes.
Who used their own.
So that was
voices.
Nellie and Luther.
And was Luther, yeah.
And there wasn't a
we
lot
didn't
of
have any
dancing.
dancing.
Yeah.
The only dancing was the variety act and Nothing Like a Dame, which is my gripe.
Yeah.
And my homework.
My gripe is just the color, which we didn't talk about.
The color.
The director.
Oh, that's my fun fact.
Oh, is that your fun fact? Perfect.
Yeah.
Luther had a lot of my giggles.
Yeah.
The way that he said a lot of lines was just so funny. Kind of like Carol Burnett in Annie, where it was just like, it was the cadence and how they were delivered that was so funny that even if I just said the words, it wouldn't hit as much just because the actor gave it something special. Luther was a bunch of my giggles.
Yeah. So my gripes were that the choreo and Nothing Like a Dame sucked and the coloring was wild, which we're going to get into. My giggle, honestly, was that Cable line where it's like, this has been a discouraging day for me.
Yeah, that's true. That's really funny.
Again, I really liked that actor.
Yeah.
And then moments of joy, just some really genuine moments of joy for musical theater, and also just realizing still to this day how brave this subject matter was for the time, how self-aware it was, and how enduring it has been.
Yes. And then also Honey Bun.
Yeah.
Continuing my theme of loving songs that do not matter.
Have no purpose for the plot, do not move the plot forward, are simply there to break up the love ballads.
Lonely goat herd. They're like, they can only make eyes at each other for so long, so let's put her behind a curtain. All right, fun facts.
Brand new to me as of yesterday was there is a 2001 TV version of this musical starring Glenn Close, Harry Connick Jr., and a man whose name I don't know how to say, Rade Serbedzaj. I didn't know, so because when I was looking to watch it, I was like, Glenn Close!
Glenn?
And I might...
Well, and she got pretty good reviews for that.
Yeah.
But it's
just crazy.
Glenn,
I just didn't know. I just didn't know that existed.
My fun fact is about the Pulitzer Prize for Drama. So South Pacific won it in 1950 after it appeared in 1949. Now, only 9 musicals have ever won the Pulitzer Prize in Drama, and it ends up being 1 per decade. So in the 1930s...
not intentionally, that's just the way
it's just kind of been that way, we don't have one for the 20s yet, so I'm interested. Of the I Sing...
We're only halfway through.
Yes. Of the I Sing, 1931... South Pacific, 1949, Fiorello, 1959.
Fiorello?
Mm-hmm. How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying, 1961. A Chorus Line, 1975, which makes total sense. Sunday in the Park with George, 1984, also makes sense. Rent.
Just gasping at the concept of Sunday in the Park with George. Rent makes sense.
60 or in 96. Next to Normal in 09. Remember when Next to Normal was the entire universe in musical theater?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then last
Yeah,
one
sure.
is Hamilton in 2016.
My other two fun facts are about the color filters and about the Pulitzer. So I'll go off with my Pulitzer first, just on the back of yours. So despite his contributions to this musical, we're talking about Joshua Lockwood Logan III, who directed and co-wrote the stage musical and then directed this film. So despite his contributions, not only did the New York Times originally omit his name as a co-author alongside Rodgers and Hammerstein, the Pulitzer Prize Committee initially awarded the prize to only Rodgers and Hammerstein. The mistakes were corrected later.
Yeah.
But Logan wrote in his autobiography, I know then why people fight so hard to have their names in proper type. It's not ego or the principle of the thing. It's possibly another job or a better salary. It's reassurance. My name has been so minimized that I lived through years of having people praise South Pacific in my presence without knowing I had anything to do with it.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, I get that.
So I'm glad it was corrected, but like...
Well, and I think it was
what a
because
shame.
he had also a military background and therefore was deeply invested in the writing of the book because he was the one who could say whether or not something was legitimate.
Yeah. So in terms of the color filters, as we've mentioned, this film has some wild gradient filters put over shots.
Yeah.
So particularly during song sequences, which has been a source of criticism for the film over the years. So the director wanted these filters to produce subtle changes, so subtle, but was displeased with the extremeness of the changes.
Yeah.
Like, very demure, very mindful. No, it's just like
Boom!
pink, yellow. And he was unhappy with it. However, there was no time to repair or amend or change these colors before the release date because tickets were pre-sold because it was a roadside attraction. Yeah. So in those memoirs, he said he wished he could have stood outside theaters playing the movie wearing a sign that said, I directed it and I don't like the color either. So funny.
That's so funny.
But I mean, it's a shame that it's not what he wanted. It didn't ruin the movie for me. It was just a little distracting whenever it would happen.
Yeah, and I think I noticed it more now as an adult than obviously I did as like a 10-year-old child.
Yes.
But it is
I think as a 10-year-old child, I was like, what's going on? God, I love this music. God, I love this show. I want to see a stage production. And that is my homework, actually.
Okay.
So my homework is I included the link, I mentioned it earlier.
Nothing Like a
But
Dame.
I'm including the scene, the song performance of Nothing Like a Dame at the Royal Variety Show from the London production. It's good choreography, it's better ensemble acting, things actually happen. And that's my one gripe, is that I did not like Nothing Like a Dame in this.
And then to see a live show if possible, is that your other one?
I mean, that's not homework because that's a lot harder
That's
to
extra
mandate,
credit. That's
but
extra credit.
That's extra credit.
My homework is I'm going to put in the song You've Got to Be Carefully Taught because we talked about how important that song was. And that does actually feel like required reading for any person who loves musical theater.
All right, dear listeners, if you're still with us, that's our podcast. Yeah. That's all she wrote.
End of season 4.
End of season 4. Holy moly. If you're still with us, we're so grateful for all of you. We love doing this. Ugh. We cannot wait to see you in season 5. We have such an amazing
Such a good lineup.
Such a good lineup. Now I'm thinking about what's the opener. Oh my God. We love doing this so much. We love each and every one of you. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to listen to this incredibly niche, silly little podcast. We have been your chaotic co-host. I'm Anna.
I'm still Grace.
Take care of yourselves and others. We'll see you in season 5. Goodbye.
Bye.
5, 6, 7, 8.
There's no business like show business, like no business I know.